Good morning, everyone. My name is Duncan Gilman. I'm the Dean of Students for Splash Media U. So glad you're joining us here for our live school tour and orientation. I want to go ahead and get started now and be on time, and so I'm respectful of your time because I'm sure that everyone has a lot of things to get done today, as we all do. So I want to go ahead and get started with our tour. I'm going to give you a quick introduction first. Then I'm going to switch the screen over because we're going to spend most of the time looking at the school. It's going to be a walkthrough of exactly what you'll see as a student through the courses, through the classes, through the homework assignments, everything you'll need to know before you get started. We're not going to spend a ton of time today. I think we'll probably take about 20-25 minutes and then leave a few minutes at the end for questions. Speaking of questions, if you're watching us from the splashmediau.com/orientation page, you're probably watching via the YouTube window at the bottom of the page. If you'd like to chat in some questions or some comments, feel free to do that on Google+. There is should be a link on that YouTube video that you're watching to switch over to the Google+ view, and it should be hopefully fairly seamless if you switch over to that view, and you can see the group chat, which is available on the right-hand side. In fact, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is type in a message onto the group chat window. There we go. So hopefully that appears if you're watching on Google+. Again, there should be a link to that on the YouTube viewing window if you're on our website. But as you think of questions, go ahead and put them there in the chat window so that you don't forget, and at the end I'll come back to them. Because again, I'm going to spend most of the time on the school screen. So I don't want your questions to get lost or forgotten. Put them in. We'll come back at the end and have a few minutes to answer them. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the school. And this is a little strange for a second because I'm going to switch over to screen share. So you may see the screen look a little odd just for a minute. But I'm going to start my screen share here on my desktop and then switch over here to Splash Media. It looks like we're taking up most of my screen here, so hopefully everything is viewable and visible. We will have this recorded full tour available to you after the fact. So if for some reason things stutter, your connection's not working quite right, you can always come back to that same YouTube video or on our Google+ page, or for the next week actually until we do our next live tour. You can see it viewable on our splashmediau.com/orientation page as well. Quick overview before we dive right into what you see in the user interface. Splash Media U is an accredited school teaching social media marketing, training for businesses and consultants how to use social media to market their clients, market their own businesses. We've been around for several years now, and we're very proud now to be affiliated with Full Sail University, which is a full campus school in Orlando, Florida. That is just a very brief introduction. We're happy to give you more information if you need it. But again, I want to spend most of our time right here in the school. So this is what you'll see when you log in. As you can see over here on the right, my sample student to show you, I'm logged in as first name new, last name student. Very creative on our part. Over the top of the screen here, you can see our navigation menu. We wanted to make everything very user-friendly, very straightforward, very easy to find. So the courses drop-down list is exactly the same list you'll find if you scroll down the page. So that is where you'll see the courses that you are enrolled in. Quick note about that. If you're enrolled in Master Certification, you will see the view that I see here. Foundations, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, blogging, YouTube strategy, seminars, and we'll get to that in a minute, and the final exam. If you're enrolled in one particular certificate, you will see just that course. So if you're enrolled just in blogging, you will just see blogging here, along with the foundations course as well, because we like to give everyone a little background on online marketing. I think it's very helpful as you get started. And that's why we put foundations at the front and strategy at the end. We bookend with these two more general marketing courses so that you have some context for what you're learning in Twitter, Facebook, etc., and you're able to apply it not just to what you're learning here and to your business, but to new social media platforms that come along, new ones that you want to use that we may not have offered at the moment. But that is why we've created the course in that structure and in that order. So again, if I scroll down the page, I'll see the same thing. I'll see my list of courses followed by our longer form seminars and our final exam. Moving further across the top of the page, you can see my message platform. This is a great way to communicate back and forth with your instructor or me. You can see that I've got 3 messages here, and I can click on messages and take a look at those. I think these are just for me. These are some updates we did to the school, so that's where those will appear. You'll also get those via email, but you'll have them right here in the system you can access at any time. Our resource library, the next item over, is a great place to access some of the resources you'll find in the courses. These resources appear in their respective place in an assignment or in a class that refers to that item. But if you forget where that class is or forget where the assignment is, all of those resources are here in our resource library. For example, we have a couple of classes that talk about how to create a response policy. I know my cursor is probably hard to see, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight some things when I can. So here's where I am. We have a couple of classes that talk about why a response policy is important. In fact, we even have a homework assignment that asks why a response policy is important. That response policy template is downloadable from that class and from that assignment. But as I just mentioned, this is my example. As I mentioned, you can also find that response policy here in among our other resources in the resource library. So a great place to access everything in one spot. The support area is a great place to find answers to frequently asked questions. You can find these listed below. They'll appear here in a second. I may have to. Looks like my page is slow to load for a second here, so I may just need to stop the loading here. There we go. So you can see questions like what size do files have to be when I upload them? How do I upload assignments? How do I take a screenshot? Our most common questions are kind of system related, so you can find answers to here. If you have any questions about the content, of course, feel free to reach out at any time with our support email address, support@splashmediau.com, or our phone number. We're available during regular business hours. So please use those. You can also, if one of these questions doesn't answer your one of these answers doesn't answer your question, you can always open a brand new support ticket with your question. But again, a great place to find answers to technical questions, because we do ask you to do things like upload assignments and create word processing documents and spreadsheets and screenshots, so you can basically take an internal picture of what you see on your screen so we can see what you're seeing, so that we know that you've grasped the concept. And if you've never done that before, you'll find the instructions here, and once you do it a couple times, you'll also find it's pretty easy to do. Let's go back to the home screen, and I think I'm just going to dive into one of our courses and show you what that looks like, and that way you'll know what to expect in the rest of our courses. Let's take a look first at Twitter. And again, I could have gotten there just by the course drop-down menu here and clicking on Twitter. Here you'll see at the top an activity completion bar. You'll see how many of the assignments, including the final exam for, well, pardon me, I should reserve the term final exam for the overall program exam, including the Twitter exam in this case, because each course has its own exam to accompany the course. So Twitter has a Twitter exam at the end, which you'll see in a minute. And then working down the page, we have an overview of what you're going to learn out of the Twitter course, and then we've divided each course into sections based on what we call the tactical wheel. This includes these 5 tactics, and let me scroll down past the basics getting started section. But these 5 sections, these 5 tactics that make up the tactical wheel are listening, building community, broadcasting to your audience, creating original content, and then converting that audience into actual paying customers and clients. Those 5 things: listening, building community, broadcasting, content, and convert. Those are the things that really make up any successful social media strategy, and we've laid them out this way, as I sort of mentioned at the beginning, so that you can know how to attack and conquer a social media platform that we don't offer yet. So let's say something like Instagram, which we're actually working on now, or Foursquare or Snapchat, any of these other social media platforms that your business or your clients might have used, or Google Plus, for example. You can take this same tactical wheel and apply it to that platform. That's exactly the reason that we've developed this tactical wheel so that you can take it and apply it and grasp quickly everything you need to do to create a successful social media strategy for any social media platform. Back up at the top, we do start, I think, almost all of our courses with a basic section, and in Twitter's case, basics would include things like what is a tweet, how to retweet, how to follow, those basic things that you really need to know first before you get into the real social media strategies of the platform. Each of these items that you see here is a link to a class. You'll notice that some of them are gray and some of them are blue. The blue ones are ones that I, as a student, have not seen yet. The gray ones are ones that I've already watched. But they're all available to you all the time until your enrollment is over. So you're welcome to come back at any time, especially when you're doing a homework assignment or when you're getting ready to take an exam. Come back to these classes, or working with a client and need to review something. Come back to these classes and watch that class again so that you can master, not just understand, but really master the concept. You'll see some of these are noted with an icon of a hand and paper. That denotes an assignment. So we've placed these, pardon me, we've placed these assignments in what I think are strategic places throughout the course so that you're prepared to do the assignment. For example, the class here that says, again, I'll highlight this because I know my cursor is sometimes hard to see on the screen share. Overview, getting started on Twitter. What's the assignment after that? Well, set up a Twitter account. Same thing down here. You've just watched the How to Use Twitter Lists class, and then you're ready to complete the Create a Twitter List assignment, which immediately follows it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this class. It's a good sample class, actually, to show you. So I click on the class, and while it loads, you'll notice over here on the left, I've got the rest of the basics section here. I don't have to go back out to the Twitter course in order to see the next item in basics. I can just go down to the list here. Now, once I'm done with basics, then I go back out to the Twitter course. But same thing with listening and building community and the rest. I can easily navigate that one section of the course right here on the left-hand side. So here my class is loaded. I'm ready to click play. And right here at the beginning, I'm going to show you one of our key features as this loads. It's something that that helps you really get the most out of each class, because at the beginning, we give you your objectives right up front. So I'm going to pause it here for a second. So in this session, you'll learn what a Twitter list is, how to create one, and some common uses for them. So right at the beginning, I've got my objectives. Here's what I'm going to get out of this one class. We've broken our classes down into these 3 or 4 minutes, sometimes as long as 6 or 7 minute chunks if we go really into detail about a particular topic. But for the most part, 3 or 4 minutes long, so that you can watch them in these bite-sized chunks. You can watch several classes at a time, or you don't have to interrupt a class to pause your learning. You can finish a class because it's only a few minutes long, and then come back to it and pick up right where you left off with the next class. So that's kind of the reasoning behind separating these things out into little classes. And I think it's a little bit easier to grasp that concept if you can master one thing and then have everything tie together and apply them all in one big chunk once you've seen several classes that are related to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and click play. We can let this play out for a little bit longer. In fact, this is one that I'm teaching. That's me right there. So I'm going to pause it again. So this is just the class, the video class you can watch here right on your screen. This class will go back and forth, as most of our classes do, will go between this view of the instructor and the view of what I'm actually doing on the laptop. So you'll see full screen me, and you can follow along as I do what I'm explaining. So on this laptop here, I'll demonstrate, and you'll be able to see full screen how to create a Twitter list as I do it. You can, speaking of full screen, you can also take this video full screen simply by clicking that button there, and it becomes full screen on your computer. Let me just make sure that I'm still screen sharing here since I hit that full screen button. So let me just go back out. Looks like we are good. Sorry for that little interruption. Just want to make sure that we're still on the screen share here. The assignment that follows it is a great example of an assignment, because our assignments usually come in one of two forms. We're asking you to submit just a standard text entry, just an answer in a text box to answer the question. And in some cases, we're asking you to upload a file. The reason I wanted to show you this particular assignment is because we're asking you to do both. This assignment has two parts. Part one is explain how you found the members in the list that you create. And then part two is upload a screenshot showing your list. When you're ready to do this assignment, you click Add Submission. And here is where you can complete both of those two parts. This first online text box is just a standard text box that you've probably seen countless times on word processing or blog or somewhere online, and you can simply enter text here. That's all there is to it. In the file submission area, there's a little rectangle that'll appear here in a second. I might need to refresh my screen. Go ahead and reload this. Sorry, I stopped talking for 1 second so that we could let this load here. There we go. I think it's about to appear here. There we go. So here's my online text box where you can see you've got all the usual text formatting features, which you don't really need to use because all I'm doing is entering my answer here, and you can see as I type. And then here we've got the file submission for part two. Remember, part two was I'm going to upload a screenshot, and remember, in the support section, you can see how to do that if you've never done it before. But I'm going to upload a screenshot showing my list so I can show my instructor that I've really understood this concept. What I recommend you do is create a folder somewhere on your computer. If you have a documents folder or on your desktop, somewhere on your computer, create a folder called Splash Media U Assignments. That way, when you take all these screenshots and you create these Word docs and spreadsheets, you have some place to put them all so that by the time you're done, you've created basically a marketing portfolio for yourself. You've done all these things and you have something to show for it, and it makes it a lot easier when you're submitting these assignments because you can just open up that folder and drag in your newest assignment into this rectangle. So imagine if you've got the folder open here, somewhere on your desktop, you just drag that file right into this rectangle here. Of course, if drag and drop doesn't work as well for you, you can always click the Add button here and browse for that file wherever you have it saved on your computer. When you're done, you click Save Changes, and I believe there's even one more Submit button here. Let's see. Yeah, so you can submit here or edit it again if you want to edit what you've created here, but there's a final Submit button, so you can go ahead and send in your assignment when it's completely done and no changes are needed. Now, when you click that Submit button, it goes automatically to your instructor, who will grade it within a day or two. Usually that's about our turnaround time, is 1 or 2 days. You'll get that assignment back, and for the most part, it'll probably be a 100 if you've grasped that concept. If you are missing maybe 1 or 2 minor things, but you've got the general idea, you'll probably get an 80, which is passing. Anything below an 80 is a fail, which will require a resubmission of that assignment. And generally what we do is grade 1 of 3 scores. It's 100, an 80, or fail, which is, we'll probably put a 50 in the score, because we want you to succeed. We want you to be successful and really master these concepts. So we give you an opportunity to resubmit an assignment for a passing grade, for an 80, the second time you send it in. And I promise, if for some reason you fail any of your assignments, your instructor will give you feedback, specific feedback, so you know what you can fix in order to get it right. And this is for your benefit. This is for the student's benefit, so that you know what you can improve on and where you kind of missed the mark there, because we want you to get the most out of this program, and certainly you're not going to get the most out of the program if we give you a failing score and don't tell you why, or don't give you a chance to redo that assignment. Same thing with exams. Let me go back out to the actually, I just clicked the home button. Let me go back to Twitter, is really where I wanted to go. Same thing with exams. When you get down to the end of the Twitter course and all of our other courses, and you take your Twitter exam, it's 25 questions, multiple choice and true false, and a passing score, again, is 80%. So click on Twitter here. And if you do that math, which we do here for you, that means that you must get 20 answers correct in order to pass. But same thing again here, you'll have an opportunity to go back and redo that exam retake the exam if you fail. We build in a 24-hour window of time between your first attempt and your second attempt so that you can go back and review your homework assignments, review your pardon me, I've got a little message that came up that I have not turned off yet. That'll go away in 1 second. So it'll give you that window so you can go back and review your classes before you take the next attempt of that exam. Again, that's for your benefit. We want to give you the opportunity to review anything that you might have missed so you can get a better score, a passing score, the next time you take it. That is basically the fundamentals there of the classes, assignments, and exams. One more thing about exams. The exams are automatically graded by our system. So when you submit the exams, when you submit your answers at the end, and you will have a chance to review your answers just like the homework assignment before you've clicked that final submit button. But after you do click that final submit button for an exam, you'll get a score immediately because it's all objective, multiple choice, and true false. So you'll get a score immediately from the system and you'll know if you have to retake it or not. I mentioned at the beginning we have one more item that's included in our master certification program that is a requirement of our master certification program called our seminars. These are these longer form lectures, and the way that you can prove your grasp of that material is by taking a brief quiz. These are a lot shorter than our regular exams. Each of these quizzes is only 10 questions, and they refer back to each individual seminar here. So we have a seminar about campaign management, and you have a campaign management quiz, social media return on investment quiz, through the rest. You get the idea. But these go more into detail on these concepts that we don't really have time in a 3 or 4 minute class to cover as much as we'd like to. So you'll really get a much better idea of the tactical wheel here, a much better overview of search engine optimization than we covered. We do cover that to some degree in our blogging course, but we really get a chance to go into depth here in our longer form lectures. Again, these are required material for the Master Social Media certification, but I think you'll find them very helpful. It's a great opportunity to really dive into those topics. We're a little bit over time. I know I said I would keep it to about 20 minutes. I want to show you one more thing. And I am going to go to a different course for this. I'm going to go to the Foundations course. I want to show you one more thing on the activities bar, because here's an activities bar that you can see that's partially complete. And if I click into the numbers, you can see I've done 4 out of 7 in the sample account. You can see the status of each one. So these are the assignments and exam for that particular course. You can see I've completed, not completed, failed this one, so I'll have to go back and redo this one. And the reason you want to come back in and review the status of each of these is so that you can take the final exam. Because when you've completed the courses, and you can see that final exam is down here at the bottom, when you've completed all of the courses and you're ready for the final, one of the items that it'll say on the final exam is go back and make sure that you have a completed status for every homework assignment and exam in each of the courses, because that is what we will do also on the school end. Is we'll go back into your account, we'll check the status, and help remind you if you have maybe a failed homework assignment you have to resubmit, or something that got overlooked for some reason. We will tell you that as well, and we won't give you that final exam until everything else is complete. So that's why this is here, so you can go back and review and make sure that everything has a completed status before you're ready to take the final exam. And of course, that means you're better equipped to take the final exam and pass with flying colors, because you've completed all the assignments that come before it. We go kind of fast. I go kind of fast in this overview because I want to make sure I get everything in, and I want to be respectful of your time and get you back to what you need to do today, and hopefully dive into the program if you have time to do so today. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to my chat view, and I'm going to stop this presentation screen share so that we can go back to a normal view here. Again, I hope that the chat window is available to you if you have any questions. I'm going to stay online just for another minute or so. But again, reach out to us at our support email address. Give us a call if you have any questions at all. But I'm going to stay on just for a minute here, see if anybody has any questions. All right, I'm not seeing anything coming through. So again, thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you get started today, or if you're not already in the program, and reach out to us with any questions you have as you begin the program. Best of luck. Have a great day.